How's it going, guys? Just gonna continue. I only have 3 more levels, or yeah, 3 more levels to go to 100, and I gotta start getting to 110. I also thought about transferring my 1/10 from a different server onto the one I'm currently on. Um, I might do that. I don't know yet. Come on, game. There we go.
Greetings. For the Alliance. Hey there, see you later. What can I do for you? Have a good one.
Oh, I didn't mean to click on that. Alright. I'll do that. Okay. Get this done. Get the 2 wanted. Do I have? There it is. I probably turned that off. Now with that. I don't want that. What do I need for this? Easy. Okay.
It's too far away. I don't have a target.
What the fuck?
I need to get closer. I need to target something first.
Oh, I might die. Oh, I might die. Oh, Jesus. What the fuck? Sorry, I'm reading someone who's I'm reading something that someone's whispering to me. Mastery. What does my mastery do? Yeah, that's okay.
I'm out of range. I need to get closer. It's too far away. I don't have a target. I'm out of range. I need to get closer. I'm out of range. I need to target something first. It's too far away.
I have to free people and kill two motherfuckers. There's two people. Of course you're glitched.
I need to get closer. It's too far away.
Oh my god.
I'm out of range. It's too far away. I'm out of range. I need to get closer. I need a target.
Okay, Connor. Sorry, I'm not really paying attention to the chat right now.
It's too far away. I need to target something first.
Where are the two other people? There's one. I really need fucking Blackstone already. I don't need that. I'd rather have Blackstone. Alright, let's try this.
I need to get closer. I'm out of range. I need to get closer. It's too far away. I need a target.
Where's the last one at? Do you want me to save 2 more? Cool. I don't want to fight him right now. What's my okay? That probably gives me around 187. I think I'm gonna level up from this. This one? There he is.
I'm out of range.
Come on, max rage. When I got a shitty staff, cool. Cool, yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it's back. Alright, cool. Let's do it.
I need to get closer. It's too far away.
Oh, fuck.
Target something first.
Let's see if we can kill that thing. That one fierce too, though. I'm sorry you're sick. Hope you feel better. You you just sick with a cold or allergies or what's going on? I'm not a doctor, so. There we go. Focus on that. Oh, this guy's easy.
I'm outraged.
Okay, no, it's not.
It's too far away.
Alright. Did I have full health going in? Okay. The dog. Around you, motherfucker.
I need to get closer.
Okay. I supposed to have 4 people with me. Or 3 people with me. Well, I guess 2 people with me. Because including myself. They should bump me to right about here. Wait, no. Maybe right here. Because I forgot the other one you don't hand in.
Can I help you? Be careful.
I supply only the finest goods.
You need something? See you around.
Just a garrison quest. I'm gonna go Negran. I fucking hate this place.
Elune be with
Yeah,
you.
whatever. Shut the hell up.
Be careful.
No, he's out. Everyone's fine. Nether shards. Still a thing. Oh yeah. Alright, see you, Connor. I don't know if that's like the same way, but. Oh, you died. I already have this. You little shithead. Oh my god. What's this? Soul thing? No. Wait. Maybe. Transmog. No. Okay. Another horde. Fuck you, Demon Hunter.
You bring news?
Dakar! Where are those parts? I've only got 2 hands over here.
Good luck,
It's still
Commander.
annoying.
Can I help you? See you later.
How are you? She may backfire in a bit, but don't worry, she'll get you there.
What a crash.
The Legion's end draws near. Do not lose faith.
I'm an OG. I don't need that shit. Oh,
Good fortune. Remember
Maybe I
the
don't
lessons of the past.
you know it's better.
It's too far away.
You are welcome here.
Am I?
I'm out of range. I need to get closer. It's too far away.
Doggy.
I need to get closer. I need a target. I'm out of range. I don't have a target.
Where's this fucker at? There you are. Oh, you're dead. I haven't done these quests in a long, long time.
It's too far away. I need to target something first.
Press the wrong
I need to get closer. I'm out of range.
Oh.
I need to get closer. It's too far away. I'm out of range. I don't have a target. I need a target.
Oh, I got them all. Cool. I think there's another way. Up there. Just go fuck yourself. I could have sworn there was a rope I could just go up, but I'm gonna take these guys
I
out.
need to get closer.
Holy shit.
I'm out of range. I need to target something first.
I'm sitting here wondering who the fuck keeps shooting me at. You know what? I don't care. Throwing that on me. Oh my god. Fucking Christ. I just want to have Huntress like get the fuck out of Drain already. I hate this place. Don't see me.
The Naru have not forgotten us. Good health, long life, favor the road traveled by few.
I don't have a target.
You got him? Okay, good luck. Alright. Destroy it. Alright, good luck.
Greetings. This too shall pass.
Here there.
Give the blueprints a good look, Commander.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, not this. Do I have to talk to somebody to get it? Or do I not get it?
Come, speak with me.
Oh, there we go.
Blessings upon you.
The Burning Blade are known for their honor in battle. However, does not mean they will not try to kill you on sight.
May the light embrace you.
I go for it. I think he's hard as fuck though, right?
I need to get closer. It's too far away.
I guess not. I was hoping for just a multi-strike, but alright, what is this? I don't care. Alright,
I need to get closer. I'm out of range. I need a target.
alright.
I need to get closer. I'm out of range. I don't have a target. It's too far away. I need to target something first. I need a target. I need to get closer. It's too far away. I'm out of range. I need to target something first.
One more. I'm not gonna fuck with you right now.
It's too far away.
Oh, two more. Beautiful sheep.
I need to get closer.
Oh, I thought there was three.
I'm out of range. I need to get closer. It's too far away. I'm out of range. get closer. I'm out of range.
Yeah, fine, I'll fuck you up.
It's too far away. I'm out of range. I need to get closer. It's too far away. I'm out of range. It's too far away. I need to get closer. I need a target.
Oh. Yeah, really? Fuck that. What the fuck? I think it's underneath. Let me turn this shit on.
Rona Kai Christor.
Veronica, shut the fuck up.
Blessings upon your family.
It's the ugliest shit I've ever done taken because I like transmog. What time is it? Oh, 9:11. I gotta get this going soon, or now. I'll just take that, then I'll log off. Thanks for watching. I know it's not that interesting, but I'm playing because I want to play. But if you happen to enjoy it, then please like, subscribe, share, do whatever you want to do. And I'm done.